Hello everyone, I'm Asya, the media lecture, and today we are going to discuss the biomechanics of human bone growth and development. That is basically chapter number 4 in biomechanics of Susan Hall. So, as you know, before starting any of the chapter, we just discussed what we are going to complete in this chapter. So, starting from material constituents of structural and structural organization of bone that affects its ability to withstand mechanical loads, and describe the processes involved in the normal growth and maturation of bone. Describe the effects of exercises and weightlessness on bone mineralization. Then significance of osteoporosis and discuss current theories on its prevention. Explain the relationship between the different forms of mechanical loading and common bone injuries. So, in the start, as you know, in the Sister Hall work, we are start with the chapter with some questions and some ideas. So we can discuss that in later on in this chapter. Okay. So first, what determines when a bone stop growing? Okay, what determines basically when a bone stops growing? How a stress fractures are caused? Why does space travel cause reduced bone mineral density in astronauts? What is osteoporosis and how it can be prevented? Basically, these are the questions that we are going to answer in this chapter. Okay, starting from the word bone. As you know, we are going to understand what bone actually is made up of, how it works, and why it's much more than a dry, hard structure like a dog likes. Like as you know, a dog is going to bite that, or dog is going to chew that bone, and you have that structure. Okay, bone will be look like that dry, hard structure, but bone is not like that in the real life. Okay, and as a medical student, you know that bone is not like bone is not dry, brittle piece of mineral. But in reality, bone is alive. Okay, it is constantly changing. It always being remodeled, modeled, like shaped during growth. Modeled basically means you shape during growth, and remodeled mean that it can be repaired, it can be renewed throughout the life. Okay, so this constant activity helps bones stay strong, healthy, responsive to the mechanical stress like exercise or weight-bearing activities. Okay, so majorly this is the one. Mechanical roles of bones basically, as you know, the two major mechanical functions of bones are support and protection, and second one was the movement. Okay, bones are very rigid framework, okay, that supports the whole body organs. Okay, as you know, as we have discussed, like okay, I can highlight the hair so you can know where we are going to discuss this. Okay, okay, this is the area that we are going to discuss here. So these two mechanical functions are very important. As you know, bones are very rigid framework that supports all of the body organs, your vital structures basically. It can protect your vital structures like brain. As you know, the skull is going to protect your brain. Rib cage is basically protecting the lungs and heart. Vertebrae are protecting the spinal cord. So you know that, okay? So it can give the support and protection to the vital organs of your body. Same like that, it helps with movement. As you know, bones are acting as levers. Muscle pull on these levers to create a movement, and without a rigid bone, muscles would have nothing to pull against. So that means both are required, your muscles and your bones. Now, starting from the first topic that we are going to discuss today is composition and structure of bone structure, in which we are going to discuss material constituents. Okay, so basically, composition of bone is, as you know, bone is strong. So because of its unique combination of minerals, proteins, and water, so it can form at the end a strong structure that is called as bone. Okay, so we can just break it down, okay? Like as you know, maximum of the content of your bone is made up of calcium. Okay, so calcium is like 60 to 70% of the body bone weight, dry bone weight is basically this minerals, and that minerals are calcium carbonate and calcium phosphate. Okay, they make the bone stiff, strong against the compression, like as you know, the compressive forces. So it can just makes the stiff component of your bones. What are the components? Calcium carbonate and calcium phosphate. Other minerals such as magnesium, sodium fluoride also supports the bone health and development. Then the collagen. Collagen is the protein fiber that is present in bone. Okay, so it usually provides flexibility, tensile strength, like tensile strength, as you know, the pulling force, the resistance to the pulling force, okay? As we have discussed, the muscle pulls the bone, right? So resistance to that pulling force is basically tensile strength that is provided by the collagen, the protein component of your bone. Like if I can say in a very easy way, like think of collagen as a soft part that prevents bone from breaking easily when stretched or bent. Okay, consider that because they make the bones slightly flexible. Okay, now the water component is 25 to 30% of bone contains the water component, and water is very important and it prevents bone from becoming dry and brittle. As we have discussed before, that you can see on our dog is chewing that bone. Okay, you can see, oh, this is so dry. So real bones are not like that, no? So because this is why we can just discuss that it becomes dry and brittle. So we have to prevent it. So, what prevents the water, the hydration? It helps transport nutrients to bone cells, then waste products out, mineral ions like calcium in and out of the bone. Simple as that. If bone loses like too much of water, it becomes weak and fractures are more easily. So that's why you can just consider that in some elderly cases, we can see the fractures are very common as compared to the younger ones because their bones are hydrated. Okay, so other things we are going to discuss later on. Okay, now the scientists or the researchers have studied bone material properties. They must ensure bones don't dry out. Okay, because dehydrated bones do not behave like living bones. Okay, so your bones required hydration, and hydration is very essential to understand. Like keeping hydration is very essential. Okay, like you have a real strength, real flexibility, real mechanical behavior, so it is very important. So scientists have discovered that what is the main work you have to do on the bones is don't get them dry out. Okay, you have to make your bones hydrated all the life or all your living life. Simple as that. So easy way to remember is just consider that like calcium, as we have discussed the minerals, 60 to 70% of component is made up of minerals. Okay, it gives stiffness and compressive strength. Collagen is basically the flexible component or tensile strength. It gives the flexibility and tensile strength. Third one is the water. 25 to 30% it gives the bone nutrition, waste material removal, mineral transport, and it is very important. So this is all for today, and in the next lecture we are going to discuss like everything is basically discussed in this paragraph in a very detail. So I can just give you the brief overview that all the components what are discussing here. In the next lecture we are going to discuss the structural organization of the bone. Thanks for watching. If you have any query you can ask, and this is all for today. Bye bye.